Oh my god, sorry guys, I just realized I was muted the entire time. Alright, so long story short, we are continuing Rod's Raft today. Not sure we'll be able to finish because I have a smaller time window today than usual, but we'll see how far we can get. And without further ado, let's begin. That's what I said anyway, but we've already begun. Yeah, either way, I was commenting about how, because previously I was like, oh, does that mean... does the king actually like Ophelia or not? Because apparently it's because of Rod that they got together and that they got to become royalty or whatever. And that just kind of clarified it, I guess, that the king was already looking for Ophelia, and Rod's wish, I guess, just helped them find each other. So I was saying that Ophelia is real-life Cinderella. Ta-da! But either way. Emily finishes up the last steps of her routine before walking over to me. I hand her the glass of water I was holding for her. Thank you, Lisette. Emily must notice my curiosity because she stops to look at me quizzically. Is something the matter? I read a bit of that fairy tale, but never finished it. Can you tell me the whole story of the Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid? Emmeline takes a seat on one of the chairs bordering the throne room and gestures for me to take the one opposite her. Telling a fairy tale is always a good way to wind down. Once upon a time, there was a mermaid that fell in love with a handsome prince. One day when she swam to the surface of the ocean to find him, she saw that the prince was celebrating his birthday on the grandest ship in the kingdom. The little mermaid was captivated by the human party and stayed to watch. Then suddenly a violent storm hit the prince. Oh my god, a violent storm just hit this one single person. A violent storm hit, and the prince was thrown from the ship into the ocean. The little mermaid saved the prince and took him safely to shore, but she could not stay long. She eventually had to return to the ocean and leave him on land. This is similar to Eureka's rescue. The little mermaid was still in love with the prince as she went to see a witch who offered to trade her a potion that would turn her mermaid's tail into legs. They struck a deal. The mermaid would sacrifice her beautiful voice for legs so that she could live with the prince on land. So in Rod's case, he traded away his voice to become a prince. However, the sea witch gave the little mermaid a warning and said that if she wasn't able to make the prince fall in love with her, there would be consequences. Consequences? Yes. Namely, if the prince fell in love and married someone else, the mermaid's heart would break, and she would dissolve into sea foam. I cannot help but recoil. My expression must betray my horror because Emmeline quickly shakes her head. There is no need to be worried. Rod has said that his curse is different from the fairy tale. And you believe him? Emmeline shrugs helplessly as she puts down her now empty glass of water. The fairy tale curse always twists the original fairy tale, right? Besides, it's not as if Rod traded his voice for legs, and I've never heard of a cursed person that dies because they cannot break their curse. That may be true, but Emmeline does not know what Rod traded his voice for. She does not know that he did to become a prince for Eureka. Rod is already hiding things from her. Is it possible that Rod will die the day Eureka marries Desmond? Later that day, I find Rod in the dining hall. He appears to be inspecting the seating arrangements for a night's banquet. He glances up briefly to look at me before returning his attention to the placards with the guests' names on them. What is it? I have been looking for you all morning. I'm distracted from what I'm about to say when I notice Rod switching the position of two placards. I frown as I catch the name on one of them. He is moving Eureka's place at the table. Is he trying to make sure she sits as far away from him as possible? Surely I have better things to do than stay in here. What happens if you cannot break your curse? Rod's movements stutter before he shakes his head sharply. That is something you do not need to know. Eric, plead. Please, Rod. Tell us the truth. Something aches deep in my chest at Rod's coldness. Hi! Welcome back! Good to see you again. Please. Rod stars so strongly that he almost drops the placard he's holding. Please tell me. We have been partners for months now. But I barely Yes, I know that it's an unusual partnership and that most of our helping each other has been subtle, but I'm only one good deed away from breaking my curse, while you seem to be no closer to breaking your curse than when we started. I would do whatever I can to help you over Curse Rod. So please let me help you. Silence falls. Moments later, Rod sighs and looks away from me. Some unspeakably sad emotion shines through his eyes. Even if I wanted your help lose it, there's nothing you can do. Dread settles in the pit of my stomach at Rod's words. Could I be right? Will Rod actually die if he does not manage to break his curse? Emmeline told me a story of the Little Mermaid. She said that the mermaid dies if the prince marries someone else. Rod, when Eureka marries Desmond, will you... My voice trails off when I hear a sound of the door behind us. Gasp. Is it Ophelia or the king? Rod rushes forward and grabs me before I can glance back at the door. Ow. I become aware of a weight holding me down to the floor. The impact of the ground against my head blurs my vision, making it impossible for me to see what is happening at first. Am I underneath the dining table? I struggle to try and sit up, but the weight pushes down on me again, forcing me to be still. Quiet. Rod, why did he push me underneath the table? That's not a question you ask every day. I'm about to ask him aloud when a sound of footsteps silences me. I cannot help but wonder what Sir Mefrose is saying about rumors. If Rod and I were seen alone together by our servants, the rumors will no doubt get worse, especially under the table. But why is Rod doing this? I stay quiet as the people that enter the dining hall begin to talk. How strange for this place to be empty at this time of day. There's a pause, and then another voice speaks up. You better have good news for me, Mefrose. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mefrose? Rod's hands tighten on my shoulders. Everything is as you requested, Sir Alcaster. There shall be no issues. There better not be. You've disappointed me before, Mefrose. I would be careful not to try my patience again. Yes, Sir Alcaster. Sir Mefrose sounds oddly subservient. But why? The two of them are both ranked equally, and neither of them should have to answer to anyone other than the king. Unless Sir Alcaster truly is a witch and is forcing Sir Mefrose to obey him with a spell. Wait a few minutes after I leave. We should not be seen together. I do not hear Sir Mefrose respond, but I can hear Sir Alcaster leaving the room. Sir Mefrose sighs out, but is otherwise silent when he leaves the room after a few moments. I exhale fully as the door finally closes behind Sir Mefrose. This is bad. I was so engrossed in Sir Alcaster and Sir Mefrose's conversation that I only just now realized that Rod is hovering over me. Oh great. Look, it's just Sebby hanging out. Hey, are you alright? Are you hurt? You look a little... Ross suddenly pauses as he notices our positions. He stares at me for a few moments, eyes wide. He scrambles out from underneath the dining table, and by the time I do the same, he is standing far away from me, his gaze fixed on the wall. He is bright red. It would be funny if I weren't sure I was the same color. Rock clears his throat. It seems that Sir Alcaster really is the witch if he has the ability to make Sir Mefrose obey him. Lady Parfait should be told immediately. Rod turns on its heel to leave the dining room. Rod, wait. What? This is urgent, Princess. I can't just... When Eureka marries Desmond, will you die? Rod pauses for a moment, but I can tell from his pain expression that he will not speak. Like, why is his particular curse like so dire, has such dire consequences? Like, I don't even remember the conditions, I guess, of the other curses, let me think. But I'm pretty sure... No, I think Karma also has like a life-threatening curse, I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, but it's like a slower progress, I don't know. It's less conditional and just like slower, I think. I don't know. And yeah, does anyone else like just has a curse that threatens them, like oh, if that person doesn't love you back, like you're gonna die or something? I don't know. Rod paused for a moment, but I can tell from his main expression that he will not speak. You're running out of time, Rod. My eyes split between Sebby and Rod. What does that mean? Yeah, I remember like Karma had that condition. I'm trying not to spoil it because I just remember that. Oh wait, we're only on the first round right now. But yeah, nothing. He turns away from me once again and starts walking away. Rod, there must be something in my voice that makes Rod stop because he turns to look at me. Please stop running away from this. What would knowing the answer with Hsialu said? Though Rod's words are harsh, his tone is soft. There's nothing anyone can do. Leave it alone, Luzette. It's for the best. I cannot help but get mad at Rod's dismissive tone. I move toward him, frowning. How can you say something like that? You are not the only person that will be affected if you keep refusing to do anything to break your curse. Can you imagine what your death would do to your sister, to your mother? Losing you would destroy them. Rod's face is suddenly inches away from mine. He places his hands to the wall behind me, caging me in. Oh great, it's a cabedon. His face is flushed of anger, but the look in his eyes is tormented. My family has been dealing with the consequences of my actions for the majority of my life. Don't think that I don't know what effect my curse has on the people closest to me. Besides, I don't want to involve you in this too. His voice is a whisper, but I can still hear his words. Rod pushes away from me and stalks off as I stare after him. He says that, but then he still does nothing to try and break his curse. I don't understand him at all. What is stopping him? Rod is absent from the palace for the rest of the day, and returns only once the sun has set to prepare for the ball. I have not been able to talk to him since, but I assume that he has been to the Martian to tell Deloria and Parfait about our suspicions of Sir Alcaster being a witch. I hope they come up with an effective plan for dealing with him. The palace is not safe so long as he is here. The ball is just about to start that evening, and I have been asked to make sure none of the guests are lost in wandering the hallways. I have been walking around for a while, directing any late guests in the right direction. That should be everyone. As I turn the corner, I notice two people lingering by a column. Excuse me, the throne room is... I pause when I look more closely at the two men in front of me. I recognize one of them instantly. What is Sir Alcaster doing outside the throne room, and who is the man he's with? Ah, Luzette. Sir Alcaster gestures me toward him, and I approach warily. Oh, we made this guy pretty late in his route. This is Varg. He is one of the... he is one of the guests for the ball. Varg no, he has to bow twice, sorry. Varg sweeps aside his cape as he bows, and I curtsy and dip my head to hide my expression. I have not heard of a Varg, and why would he be bowing to a mere maid? Also, why is he wearing such an elaborate costume and mask? This is not a masquerade ball. If Varg is an acquaintance of Sir Alcaster, there is no telling what or who he truly is. Varg is one of the suitors for Princess Emmeline. Would you please escort him to the throne room? I will be along shortly. Varg's politeness is even more suspicious. Of course, Sir Alcaster. I meet Varg's gaze briefly and cannot help but frown at the way he is smirking at me. This way. Varg and I make our way toward the throne room. I cannot help but feel wary of the fact that he is following behind me where I cannot see him. If the maids are this lovely, the princess must be truly beautiful. Oh my gosh, disgusting. Varg laughed and I grit my teeth at the sound. Oh my god. What? It was meant as a compliment. Oh my god. That's such a red flag. There's no need to look at me like that. Varg looks at me curiously. Are maids not allowed to speak in this place? I have nothing to say. Not the most cheerful person on staff, are you? Thankfully, the doors to the throne room appear as soon as we turn a corner, and I do not have to come up with a response to his words. We are here. I gesture toward the throne room and move to leave, but Varg's voice stops me. You should at the very least escort me inside and introduce me to the princess, don't you think? Isn't that what a maid should do? Technically, that is the announcer's job. But Varg came so late, he probably already missed the introductions. I wouldn't want to think badly of any of the servants at the palace. I take a deep breath to calm myself down before turning toward the doors. Follow me. I can tell the moment I step into the room that the official introductions have already passed. Most of the guests have already begun to mingle and scatter across the throne room as the band sets up. No one knows this when I walk into the throne room in front of Varg. I do not trust Varg, not if he is associate with Sir Alcaster. I might have to warn someone about him while he is distracted, but who? The princess! My attention is quickly drawn to where Emmeline is moving between groups of people, introducing herself and making light conversation. I know this will be frowned upon, but Emmeline's safety must come first. I make my way quickly over to Emmeline and curtsy just off to the side, trying to draw as little attention to myself as possible. Princess Emmeline, may I have a word? Emmeline is clearly shocked at my intrusion, but she masks it well. Excuse me, it appears my maid has something for me. I draw her close to the walls where the crowd blocks us from view. I wasn't expecting you to be here, Lucette. Not that I mind, but won't you get in trouble? There's no time for that. I take her hand in mine and look at her somberly. You have to watch out for this man in the mask. Sir Alcaster brought him to the ball. Why should I be worried then? I cannot exactly tell her that I think he is a witch right now. There are too many people looking. Just please be wary of him. I'm sure there's nothing to be worried about from anyone here, Lucette, especially if Sir Alcaster is involved. On the contrary, if Sir Alcaster is involved, I would also recommend staying on your guard, Emmeline. Rod? I turn in shock to see Rod suddenly standing beside me. You should trust Lucette. Excuse me. I jump back at the sound of Varg's voice. Rod takes a step forward and places his hands on my shoulders to steady me. I don't believe we've been introduced. Varg looks at me for a few moments, but I say nothing. He eventually turns to Emmeline, a wolfish smile on his face. My name is Varg, and you must be Princess Emmeline. The tales of your beauty did not do you justice. Emmeline flushes as Varg reaches for her hand. He presses a kiss to the back of it, still grinning. I can feel Rod tense behind me. May I have the first dance? Emmeline bites down her lower lip as she stares at him. I become acutely aware of just how quiet the throne room has become. She cannot refuse him with so many people watching her. I feel sick, but cannot bring myself to say anything more as Emmeline puts her hand in Varg's. Oh, Varg is so much creepier than I remembered. I accept Lord Varg. The moment Emmeline makes her way to the center of the dance floor, a man signals to the band and the musicians start playing. This feels wrong. I can only nod as I watch Varg pull Emmeline closer. At first it is just Tia and Emmeline dancing, but then other couples gradually trickle in to join them. I do not like this at all. Rod and I watch in silence as the first dance continues on. I know for a fact that Rod must see the dreamy smile on Emmeline's face as certainly as I can. When the music stops, both of us move as one toward Emmeline. Even though the dance is over and Varg has released her, we still stand close together in the center of the room. The silence is interrupted when the double doors open, and Sir Alcaster, along with two knights, stalk into the center of the room where Emmeline and Varg stand. Their arrival causes an uneasy stir in the crowds. The king rises from his throne, eyebrows drawn. Alcaster, is there some kind of disturbance? Alcaster says nothing as the knights stationed around the room approach Emmeline and Varg and stand around them, encircling them. Emily's expression shifts from confusion to fear. The crowd becomes even more anxious. Alcaster, explain this. Alcaster briefly glances at him but says nothing. He turns back to his knights and snaps his fingers. The knights pull out their swords and point them at Emmeline. The fuck? I reach out to grab Rod's hand before he can make his way toward her. Rod, it's too dangerous. I know, but I thought his actions have the potential to put Emmeline in even more danger. Rod's only response is to tighten his grip on my hand. I place my other hand over his to reassure him, and slowly but surely his grip begins to loosen. I turn my gaze back to the king. Alcaster, stop this immediately! What do you think you are doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. I have been nothing but loyal to this kingdom, and all I have ever wanted was for Angela to thrive. But ever since the queen died, this kingdom has become weak. It's because you are a weak ruler, Gennaro. What? The people were more productive back then, more disciplined during the late queen's reign. The kingdom has become less productive without fear to drive them. Oh really? I didn't know that Varg meant wolf in Old Norse. That makes sense, considering his story. When there is power, there is order. Power is not something that should be needlessly used to control people. It is used to protect them. You, of all people, should know that. Sir Alcaster shakes his head. I, of all people, know that order is what makes a hierarchy stronger. I'm only doing what is necessary. I am reorganizing the system. Hand over the crown, Gennaro. Sir Alcaster turns its head to Varg, who remains standing beside his scared Emmeline. You will obey me if you do not want your precious daughter harmed. Please, leave my daughter out of this. Emmeline steps back, her eyes now brimming with tears. Varg, seize the princess. As soon as Sir Alcaster gives the order, Rod immediately lets go of my hand and rushes toward his sister. Rod, no! I quickly follow after him, but Rod suddenly stops in his tracks. I bump abruptly into his back. Rod? Varg! Sir Alcaster's booming voice echoes around the room, which has suddenly gone eerily silent. My eyes move to Varg, but he is standing motionless. What is happening? Finally, Varg smirks. He steps to the side, standing in front of Emmeline as if to block her from view. Sir Varg... You must be delusional, old man. I'm not letting you anywhere near the princess. The knight's next movements are a blur as they rush at Sir Alcaster. In mere moments he has been disarmed and pinned to the ground. Several more knights have also appeared from behind to surround Sir Alcaster. A man emerges from in between the circle of knights. He moves to stand beside Varg and Emmeline. Sir Mithros looks like Sir Alcaster disdainfully. What is the meaning of this, Mithros? We had a deal. Oh, never make a deal. The anger is now palpable on Sir Alcaster's flushed face. Did we now? Mithros, explain yourself. Sir Mithros drops to one knee in front of the king. Of course, your majesty. He raises his head slightly to look at the king. I have known for a long while that the man you see before you is a traitor. I was even aware of his plans, but I could not tell you of them without any evidence. 2 of our knights had tried to inform you of these plans before, but we all looked down on them with disdain. I had to make sure that I did not come unprepared like they did. Gasp. Jurian and Garland? What, both of them knew Sir Alcaster's plans? Was that the reason why they were dishonorably discharged? For false accusations? I knew enough of his plan that I could thwart it. That's why I thought the best way to reveal his dastardly ways was to craft a fake alliance with him. Sir Varg and I have been working together to unravel Alcaster's plans, your majesty. Varg is an invaluable accomplice. No one's gonna ask just who he is. Wait, so Sir Mithros has been pretending to work with Sir Alcaster this whole time? And so we arrive at the events of tonight. I apologize for undertaking this task without seeking your counsel, your majesty. But I think I could think of no better way to end this madness once and for all. You lying snake! Sir Mithros stands and turns to Alcaster. He gestures at him dismissively. Seize him. The knight's next movements are a blur. The men rush Sir Alcaster all at once. In a mere moment, Sir Alcaster has been disarmed and is now pinned to the ground. Wait, didn't this already happen? Isn't Sir Alcaster a witch? Why is he not using his magic? Mithros, I'm in debt to you for saving us. The whole kingdom is. I only did what was necessary, your majesty. The king glances at the knights, then at Sir Alcaster, his gaze steely. Take him away. Sir Alcaster struggles uselessly against the knights as they drag him away. He is nearly at the door when he starts screaming at the king. Gennaro, you are a fool! That man is a witch! A snake! You cannot trust him! No, Alcaster, I was wrong to put my trust in you. Even as Sir Alcaster is pulled from the room, we can hear him babbling in the hallways about a witch. Sir Alcaster never used any magic to escape. Was he truly not a witch? Are you alright, princess? Don't talk to me! Oh, thank God. Completely forgot. Okay, I am pulling from my thoughts when I hear Varg's voice. Oh, he was talking to Emmeline. Okay, thank God. He is now trying to comfort a shaken Emmeline. For a few moments, he looks away and his eyes meet mine. He smiles, but it is fleeting. And moments later, his attention is back on Emmeline. Oh. Great. Interesting. The ball comes to an abrupt end after Alcaster's stunt. He is thrown into a jail cell and promised a trial after a few days' time where he will be tried for treason against the kingdom. I still can't believe Sir Alcaster would do something like that, and so brazenly too. I wonder what happened to Sir Fitzgerald. They say he vanished completely last night. Do you think he was working with his father? The truth is that I have no idea what to think. I had thought that I had everything figured out, but now I've become more and more confused by the moment. Fritz was always loyal to a fault, but then Sir Alcaster was the same way with the king, and I have not seen or heard of Fritz for weeks. I cannot really say. Good morning, Princess Emmeline. Sir Varg. Varg was offered a room at the palace for a few days' visit. He is being treated as Sir Mefro's valued guest. Really, no one is going to ask like where the fuck he came from or whatever, or how Sir Mefros even knows this guy. I've heard from the other servants that he is Sir Mefros' relative who lives in the neighboring kingdom. Oh, there we go. Haha! Okay, always read before you comment. I hope that you're feeling well now, Princess. Yes, thank you for your help last night. Is Emmeline blushing? I know I won't be here long, but I do hope to get to know you better during the duration of my stay. Creep, I would love that. No, creep, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Why? Oh, I forgot that I am meant to be in my mother's room right now. Lisette, Sir Varg, I'll see you both later. No, don't leave me with him! Emmeline! I curtsy as Emmeline walks off, leaving me alone with Varg. I cannot help but feel uneasy in his presence. Something about him puts me on edge. It should. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Excuse me, I have errands to attend to. Wait. Before you head out, I have something to give you. Give me? Varg reaches into one of his pockets and withdraws a letter that he holds out to me. What is this about? Well, I guess you'll have to open it and find out, Princess. Princess! My blood turns to ice in my veins. He knows I'm the princess. That could only mean that he is... I have no idea what you are talking about. Excuse me. I'm about to leave and Varg suddenly grabs my wrist. The play is just about to start, Princess. You have a responsibility as the main character, to perform impeccably until the very end. Otherwise, well... He grins at me. He has the same wolfish smile that he flashed at me during the ball. You might miss out on your fairy tale ending. What? Before I can say anything else, I feel a hand grip my other arm. Someone tugs me back and away from Varg and comes to stand in front of me. Rod! Stay away from her. Yeah, Rod? Varg looks at Rod, then at me, his smile growing more crooked. What an interesting turn of events. I wonder how this will end for the both of you. Tell me, Lisette, what is he to you? Well, we are not friend-zoning him. No answer, Be in denial all you want. At the end of the day, you're going to have to decide who and what you will choose. Who or what to choose? Silence, you're harassing one of our staff members. Of course, I apologize for my rude behavior, Your Highness. You seem to know a lot about us. Are you a... I lower my voice. Are you a witch? You're asking the wrong person, Princess. He knows who you really are? I think you two are worrying too much about me. After all, I'm just a pawn in this game. Varg dips into an elegant bow and flashes one last smile before walking away. Ah, thank God that's over. Are you alright? I am, thank you for helping me. You know I'd do anything for you. Aw, but what? What? It's funnier when you know that Sebby's the one who says it for him. So he's like, after delivering the line, he goes, "What?" Rod shakes his head before stepping away. Anything for me? Rod coughs, pulling me from the thought. It's possible that he is a witch or that he is working with other witches, but we have no evidence to prove it. Until we figure out what's going on, you need to be wary of him. I know. Rod smiles at me gently. The look makes my heart thud once, painfully in my chest. Stop staring at me like that. Rod looks away, his cheeks tinge red. I feel my own cheeks warm at the sight. Ew, they're so cute. They're so disgustingly cute. I wasn't staring at all. Both of you are hopeless. Shut up, Sebby. No, don't tell him to shut up. Rod gives me one last look before finally turning and walking away. It's all kind of funny that Sebby has to say this too. Like, he has to tell himself to shut up. I place my hand over my chest where I can still hear my thudding heartbeat. This feeling. If it is what I think it is, then I have no right to feel that way about him. He is my stepbrother. I shake my head to clear the thought, then glance down at the letter that Varg just delivered to me. There is only one sentence written on it. Come to the throne room alone tonight. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Chapter 9, the wedding! Alright. The throne room is empty when I arrive. He really is the ultimate wingman. I can only hope that this is not some sort of trap. Soon after I enter, the door squeaks open, a familiar face enters the room. Sir Mefrose. Sir Mefrose walks toward me. When he's close enough, he drops to one knee and bows. I frown as I take a step back from him. My princess, do not be alarmed. I know of her true identity. Sir Mefrose flashes me a wide smile that causes a shudder to run down my spine. This poor girl, the amount of times she's run into people with unsettling smiles. You know who I am, then that means that you are... I take another step back as the blood drains from my face. Sir Mefrose's smile only widens at my reaction. I'll say it for you. Yes, I'm a witch. If you're a witch, then Sir Alcester is... a mere human, a fool one. And Varg? Nothing but my personal errand boy. A thought suddenly occurs to me. If Sir Alcester was plotting against the kingdom, then did Sir Mefrose also punish Fritz somehow? What about Fritz? Was he a part of Sir Alcaster's plans? The knight. To avoid confusing you, let us just say that the situation surrounding him is too complicated to adequately explain. I command you to answer my question, Sir Mefrose. Was Fritz a part of this? If it makes you feel any better, he refused to be a part of this. He refused? Does that mean that he was not a part of the plans? Or just that he was unwillingly forced to participate in them? I am certain that Sir Alcester would not be happy that his own son was disobeying him. He either forced him to help or signed him outside the palace. But if Fritz knew of Sir Alcaster's plans, why did he not warn anyone about them? Was he working with Sir Mefrose as well? More questions swirl in my head, but none of them have answers. When this is over, I will personally ask Fritz about this. Once I can locate him. I shake the thoughts away and bring my attention back to Sir Mefrose. Why bother with this reveal? What do you hope to gain from it? Before we start our conversation... Sir Mefrose waves his hand, conjuring a faint green glow that envelops the whole room. Just in case someone decides to eavesdrop, I wouldn't want any of your witch friends listening in on us. Yes, I'm aware that one of them has been snooping around the palace these past few months. Their snooping has made it more difficult to move around without exposing myself. Sir Mefrose clicks his tongue in annoyance. Such a nuisance. He is referring to Delora. She and Parfait warned me before that there was a witch in the palace. Is Sir Mefrose truly that witch? I never really trusted him, not even when I was a princess. Now that he has revealed himself as a witch, I need to know what he plans on doing. You knew that I was a princess the entire time, yet you never offered me any assistance. If I had, Alcaster would have targeted you as well. Hi, Rellaria! It's going great. I'm currently playing another visual novel, as you can see. It's I think we're towards the end right now. Thank you for joining. Alcaster wanted to dispose of the royal family. If he had known you were the princess, he would have been after you too. It would have been easier if no one remembering you as the princess. But unfortunately, Fritz told his father about you, thinking that Alcaster might be able to help and protect you, and it didn't help that Var confirmed it. Your mother wouldn't have been happy with me if I put you in harm's way. That's why I had to pretend not to know you in order to protect you. Sir Murphys is silent for a few moments before he speaks again. Revealing myself to be a witch was necessary. I had to make myself appear useful to Alcaster somehow, after all. Then, of course, I learned of his foolish plans to steal the crown and decided to thwart them, though not before I stole something from Alcaster first. I played him like the fool that he was. I told him I would aid him with my magic so long as he gave me the knight's protection. Using magic is almost impossible in this place, so having the knights to back me up was crucial. But knights? What does he need the knight's protection for? What are his plans? Sir Murphys starts pacing the room, his expression still calm. I found out that he planned to dispose of me after he obtained what he needed, so I disposed of him first. Oh, is it really late over there? Oh, let me think. Oh, I guess it is, because I recently moved actually, so I thought it would be closer to your time zone now, but I guess not. I mean, it is closer, but it's a different problem now, I guess. Thank you so much, though. Alcaster might have been able to convince most of the knights to aid him by promising them promotions, but well, my magic is far more convincing. Sir Murphys stops in front of me, his deadpan expression transforming into a smile. For now, as he sits speaking of my plans, the minute Alcaster's plans were thwarted, I knew I had to contact you directly. I am happy to see you in the palace, Your Highness. I mean, for context, I was in Asia, and I had to move overseas recently, like last week. So I'm still trying to adjust to that, but oh, okay, 4 hours, almost a 4-hour difference. Although, we really need to get you out of those clothes soon. A maid's clothing does not befit a princess like yourself. That does not matter. My priority right now is to break my curse. Of course, they must truly have been frightening to feel a need to curse you. Frightened, not frightening, that's completely different, oh my god. I feel an uncomfortable tug in my heart. To think that the Lucid's Bearer would actually allow a witch to curse you. Sir Murphys shakes his head, disgust written on his features. When you suddenly disappeared that day, it was as if all traces of your existence had vanished. I searched for you endlessly, Princess. When you first appeared here in the palace, I did not recognize you immediately, but I felt a touch of magic in you and investigated. My curiosity is what prompted me to investigate you further. When I tried hard enough, I found that I could see through the glamour that had been cast on you. Ugh. So Sir Murphys truly was the witch Parfait was referring to when she mentioned someone seeing through the glamour. I imagine my surprise when I found out that it was actually you. That fairy bearer has been nothing but a nuisance to us witches. First she betrayed your mother, and then she betrayed you before she had even met you. But mother, she was the Tenenbaron bearer corrupted by darkness. Her fate only did what she had to. Sir Murphys looks at me, clearly surprised. What lies have those people been whispering in her ear? Everything the Queen did, she did for us witches, to protect us from the wicked humans who destroyed our kind. It is clear to me where Sir Murphys' alliances lie. Sir Murphys sighs, runs a hand through his hair, and then continues speaking. On your 18th birthday, you will follow her footsteps. You will make this kingdom a place for all witches to prosper. I'm nothing like her. I refuse to make people suffer to fuel a crystal. I never bore witness to the suffering that people had to go through during my mother's reign, but the stories are enough to reveal her true nature to me. It was hard to believe at first, but those people do not have any reason to lie to a servant like myself. They have nothing to gain from it. I finally understand why the hatred people had for me ran so deep, even when I did nothing to them. It was because I was the witch's daughter. Your mother wouldn't be happy to hear you say that. Let me assure you that this is not a destiny you can run from, dear princess. I will not let destiny take control of my life. I feigned tiredness by releasing a long yawn. I'm sorry for cutting you short, Sir Mefrose, but please excuse me. I'm getting tired. I'm about to walk past Sir Mefrose when he starts speaking again, his voice a low whisper. I notice that you have gone closer to the family you so despised before, the prince included. I narrow my eyes at him. You care about him, don't you? I must confess that this surprises me, princess. Such a relationship would certainly be a scandal, even if you two are not blood-related. He is still your stepbrother. Whatever will your dear father say about this? I clenched my fist. He has no right to lecture me. I already know that these feelings are wrong. I know I cannot have them. I assure you that there is nothing between the both of us. Oh, is that so? Are those lies you utter just to convince yourself? You know, listen, this actually puts a lot more emphasis on the whole, like, stepbrother, stepsister thing than I remembered. This man is beginning to try my patience. Allow me to share a little secret with you, princess. I'm not interested. I head for the door and reach for the knob. Oh, but I think it is something you'll be most curious about. I do, after all, know the consequences of the prince failing to break its curse. I also happen to know that someone special to him is getting married tomorrow. My hand freezes. How do you know about all of this? I know all of the happenings around this place. That is my job, princess. Now tell me, do you know the ending to the fairy tale The Little Mermaid? My blood runs cold when I remember what Emmeline told me about that fairy tale. If the prince fell in love and married someone else, the little mermaid's heart would break, and she would dissolve into sea foam. I conducted my own investigation and actually met the witch who bestowed the curse on the prince. In meeting her, I found out everything that there is to know about it. I turned to regard Mithros with a frown. Ah, it seems I've finally gotten your attention. What do you plan on doing to Rod? Sir Mithros shrugs. To him? Nothing really. I was merely curious. I wanted to know what you saw in him. What do you know about his curse? It stays true to the fairy tale, only in this case the prince gives up his voice for a title. Still, it will end the same way. The girl will fall in love with someone else despite his sacrifice. You mean... On his beloved's wedding day, the prince will die. I had thought you might have reached the same conclusion. Tragic, don't you think? I had the same thought, but... Is Rod truly going to die? So the reason Rod gave up breaking his curse was because he knew that Viorica would never love him back. He knew that he was going to die the moment Viorica married. Dread begins to wash over me. Why not ask him yourself? As if orchestrated by magic, the double doors open, and Rod steps inside. When he sees me, his expression relaxes. I've been looking all over for you. I want to speak with you about my discussion with Lady Parfait. I turn around to face Sir Mithros once again, but to my surprise, he is already gone. When did Sir Mithros leave? You said, is something wrong? Was Sir Mithros really speaking the truth? Confront. Is that just a more aggressive way of asking? Is this how you really want things to end? What are you talking about? Have you even thought about what your family will feel after they find out that you lied about your curse? You are going to die when Viorica gets married tomorrow, am I right? That's why you told me that there is nothing I could do to help you break your curse. Because there really is nothing you can do to help me. Viorica will never return my love. I already accepted my fate a long time ago. Lady Parfait was the only one who insisted I find another way to break my curse. Because she refuses to give up on you, and I would not give up on you either. I've been aware of another way to break my curse from the beginning, but I would rather die than do what it is I need to do. Do what? Kill Viorica. Have you not read? Rod's voice chose off. I'm not saying that as in like, yay, go kill her. I'm saying that as in that's probably the other condition. I mean the other way to get rid of its curse. Rod's voice shows off when he sees my confused expression. He clears his throat. Forget it. There is something more I can do. The reason I never told anyone the truth of my curse is because I never wanted anyone to blame themselves for not being able to help me. So what's the lesson here? I was already a lot. I mean, what's the lesson here about about his curse? Since they mentioned that witches normally curse people for there to be a lesson to be learned. So what is the lesson here for Rod? I mean, I was already a lost cause someone if Viorica really fell in love with someone else. I could never take that happiness away from her. Rod becomes silent, his gaze downcast. The vulnerable expression catches me by surprise. You should have told me about your curse a long time ago. How many times must I repeat myself? Telling you about my curse won't change the outcome. I could have tried to help you. How? Why are you so insistent on helping me? Because I care about you. My face warms up when the words escape from my lips. Rod also flushes. What are you saying? That I am worried about you on Emmeline's behalf, of course. I do not want her to think that I let you die. Rod lets out a deep sigh. Just stop talking. You are in no position to tell me what to do. Who's that? There's a hint of warning in his voice. Now you better let me help you, or... Oh yeah, here it is. Look at Sebby. My words are cut off and Rod presses his lips to mine. Consent. It's only a brief kiss, and when he pulls away, his usual somberness has returned. I told you to stop talking. What is this, the angry kissing trope? I can only stare back at him, baffled. Rod, you do realize that you just kissed the princess? Rod looks at Sebby, then at me. His face colors once more. He takes a step back, his lips pressed together. I'm sorry. Well, at least he apologized. Without any other warning, Rod turns abruptly and stalks out of the room. Sebby falls from his shoulder. No, Sebby! And falls to the ground, but Rod does not notice in his hurry to leave. Sebby! I stare after him in shock. I can't believe he just ran away. I walk to where Sebby is and kneel down to pick him up. Are you alright? I'm fine, thank you, princess. Sebby tilts his head to the side. That Rod. I wonder when he would start acting like a man. Suddenly kissing a girl like that is so unromantic. I think about the warmth of Rod's lips pressed against mine and flush again. Rod may not say much, but he has a lot going on in his head. Thoughts he doesn't ever want anyone to know. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I know he really does care about you, princess. He's just a little standoffish and has a difficult time with showing his emotions. He's sensitive like that. Take it from me, I'm always in his head. I care about him too, but what will become of my feelings once I break my curse? I will return to being his stepsister when this is all over. No, this is not the time to mull over such thoughts. I'm sorry for asking this of you, princess, but can you return me to Rod? That boy is useless about me. Oh, he's so cute. The exasperation in Sebby's voice makes me smile. Sebby acts like Rod's older sibling. Oh, he's adorable. Of course. When Rod does not open the door, I knock again. Rod's eyes widen as soon as he sees me. His face flushes a dark crimson. Does he not notice that Sebby's not there? I am here to return Sebby. Rod nods before slowly taking Sebby from my hands. Thank you. Be careful not to drop me again next time. Aww. There is a hint of a smile on Rod's face as he taps Sebby's face. Sorry. He looks so much more at ease when he smiles. Rod faces me again with an apologetic expression. He said, I really am sorry for what I did earlier. You don't have to apologize. Well, he does, but anyway. I know you did not intend to do that in the first place. The truth is, I actually... He trails off and diverts its eyes slowly to the floor. Have I already? No, I have not. Okay, have I already saved this part? Nope. He trails off and diverts its eyes slowly to the floor. Suffice it to say, I'm not supposed to feel this way about you. What exactly are you feeling? Are you really going to talk about this right now? In the hallway? Rod flushes deep red before turning away. Don't ask me such an embarrassing question. The hovering silence becomes more pronounced as they both stop talking. You said you want to talk to me about something you discussed with Lady Parfait. Yes. I meant to tell you that Delora will be here tomorrow to investigate. Now if we know Sir Alcester is not the witch, we have to start our investigations over. Actually, about that, I know who the witch is. You do? It's Sir Mefrose. He is the real witch. Sir Mefrose. So when Sir Alcester was throwing around accusations last night, they were true. Sir Mefrose is already aware that Delora has been investigating the palace. We need to warn her. Then I'll send Lady Parfait a quick message. We need to keep up our guard around him too, especially you. I'm sure he already knows that you're the crown princess. I nod in response. For now, we should wait for Delora to show up tomorrow. But it's getting late. You should go and get some rest. The moment he says the words, I realize he is correct. My eyelids are heavy. You're right. I think I shall take my leave. I'm about to leave when Rod suddenly grabs my hand. I turn to face him. Lucette. This is the first time I heard him say my name so warmly. I just want to... I can almost hear my heartbeat ring in my ears as I stare at him with anticipation, but Rod says nothing else. Rod eventually releases my hand with a shake of his head. It's nothing. I cannot help but feel dejected. Good night, Lucette. Good night, Rod. Moments after Rod closes the door, I hear a familiar voice whispering in my ear. Ah, I see. I jump back in surprise and stare at him with wide eyes. Sir Mefrose is leaning casually against one of the pedestals. So that is where the princess appears to every now and then. I had no reason to care before, but now I see it. If my guess is correct, he is also in league with the Lucid's bearer. When I do not answer, Sir Mefrose smiles and shrugs. Well, it does not matter. I glance around us and notice a green shield from earlier. Once again, no one will hear this conversation. Now the prince has confirmed your doubts, what will your next course of action be? You want to help him break his curse, yes? Rod may have given up on breaking his curse, but I refuse to do nothing. From the way Sir Mefrose is taunting me, he must know some other way to break the curse. Rod will not be happy about this, but I need to use what remains necessary to save him. Do you know how to break his curse, Sir Mefrose? Oh, well, I assume that you have not read the full fairy tale if you do not know. Yes, princess, I know. Tell me. Mefrose cocks an eyebrow, waves a finger at me. Do you not realize by now how witches work, princess? I propose a deal. I'll help you, but you must help me with something in return. Help you? If you're planning on betraying the king... I had no plans of taking the crown or harming any members of the royal family. What? Then what is it that you would want from me? I prefer keeping you in suspense. I do enjoy surprises. You will find out the day after tomorrow. That is my... your 18th birthday. I look at him, perplexed. Why does it have to be on my birthday? Don't worry, your highness. What I request from you will also make for a pleasant gift. What do you say? I bite my lower lip as I consider. I am worried about Sir Mefrose's request, but I no longer have time. Eureka's marriage is tomorrow and Sir Mefrose has the upper hand. I understand. Good. Now remember, dear Lisette, witches are bound to their oaths. In order for the prince to regain his voice in life, something must be taken by force, just like in the fairy tale. What does he mean by that? Tell me what I must do. Oh, I did forget to mention this, but... It is not you who must act, but the prince. What? If Rod could help himself, he already would have done so. Please trust me, princess. You will have my aid, and I will make sure the prince's curse is broken. Oh, that's not a good sign. Today is Eureka's wedding day, and also the day Rod is destined to die. Oh my god, that's said in such a casual way. Today is Eureka's wedding day, and also the day Rod is destined to die. Sir Mifros explained his plan briefly last night. He told me that he would have a valuable item delivered to Rod that he would need to use to break his curse. He further explained that it was something he would need to use after the wedding. I tried to question him further, but he disappeared before I could, saying that I needed to start his preparations. I do not completely trust him, but I am running out of time and have no choice right now. The royal family has left the palace to attend Eureka's wedding. It is unusual for the king to attend another noble's wedding, but Eureka is an exception given that she is one of Rod's and Emmeline's best friends. Despite Sir Mifros' reassurance, I am still restless. Sir Mifros told me that everything would be alright, that Rod would not instantly die the moment Eureka got married. But why must his involvement be reserved for a time after the wedding? Why does he not act now? Someone looks like they're in a bad mood. Dolores suddenly stands before me, smirking. Her appearance shocks me so badly I nearly drop the dishes in my hands. What impeccable timing. We've heard from the prince about Mifros. No wonder I was effy about the man. I should have realized he was the witch. Do you know him? Yes, I do. Dolores walks closer and places both of her hands on my shoulders. Listen to me, princess. I'm warning you. Stay away from Mifros. Do you understand? That man is a sly devil. He cannot be trusted. I take a deep breath to still my rapidly beating heart. I hope I will not regret asking for his help. Princess, I need you to promise me that you will stay away from Mifros. Yes, of course. Good. For the time being, I will resume my investigation. If I'm lucky, I'll find out what Mifros hopes to accomplish. Actually, he is not in the palace right now. He went with the royal family to attend a wedding. A wedding, huh? How unusual. I can only assume he must be there at the wedding to help Rod. Well then, better make use of his absence while I can. I'll see you later, princess. When I am left to my own thoughts, my mind returns to the issue of Rod's curse. Sir Mifros mentioned a similarity with the fairy tale, which means I may have a chance of finding out more. I decided to go to the library when I have the time to pick up the book. I am now on my way back to my quarters with the book in hand when I see Rod walking toward me from the other side. His eyes are fixed on the floor, so he does not notice me as I approach. Rod? He is still alive. Does that mean Sir Mifros has succeeded? Oh, it's just you. Rod's voice still comes from Sebby. The realization instills a deep fear inside of me. He is still cursed. How much time does he have left? Much to my surprise, Rod actually smiles at me. The smile is forced, however, and does not reach his eyes. How was the wedding? I quickly clamp my hand over my mouth after I ask the question. Rod just saw the person he loves getting married today. I already know how he feels. I apologize. I should not have asked that. Rod looks at me, surprised. Then to my shock, he starts chuckling. Oh, why are you laughing? You look like a criminal caught in the act of a crime. I apologize for trying to be sensitive, Your Highness. Without realizing it, I smile back at him. It looks like Rod has finally learned to converse with me normally. I hope this will not be the last time I see him smile like this. I'm tired, Lucette. I will now retire for the night. Rod looks at me again and smiles. Good night, Lucette. Without waiting for my answer, Rod begins to walk away. I glance down the book in my hands, then slowly open up to the last page of the Little Mermaid fairy tale. I start reading from the section where the mermaid sisters explain how to get her fins back. Take this knife. Before the sun rises, you must plunge it into the heart of the prince, and you will be a mermaid once again. The book falls from my hands and collapses to the floor. I stare at it, dumbfounded. Wait, this means... Rod needs to kill Eureka? Then the item that Sir Mifros mentioned earlier... Could it be the knife? I need to find him. I turn and start running in the direction of Rod's room in hopes I will still be able to catch Sir Mifros there. When I come to the end of the hallway, however, it is not Mifros who stands by Rod's door. Emmeline? Emmeline is slowly walking in the direction of the throne room. Her movements seem oddly mechanical. I rush toward her. Princess Emmeline, where are you going? Must go to Rod. Why is she going to the throne room? Rod is back in his room. My eyes catch on something shiny in Emmeline's hand. Ah! My heart nearly stops when I see that it is a knife. Emmeline, what are you... If he kills his beloved with this blade, his curse will break, and he won't die. It is as if she is in a trance. Is this Sir Mefrod's doing? Is she under one of his spells? Emmeline, snap out of it! Emmeline starts walking again, ignoring me. When I try to approach her again, thinking to steal away the knife, a shadow suddenly comes to stand between us. Varg looms in front of me, smirking. Where did you come from? Let me through, Varg. No can do, princess. Don't you want to save the prince? I look at Emmeline, who has not even turned to glance at us. I glare at Varg, who is still standing in my way, grinning. Step aside, Varg. Ah, feisty. You're a far more interesting princess than your stepsister. I try a sidestep, but Varg follows my motions. I try again and again, but he just thwarts my progress. He holds his hands up in the air, eyebrows raised. Tell me, what would you do if I did let you go? Would you stop him from killing the girl? Rod would never kill her. He would never do anything to harm the person he loves. He refuses to do it, and he has no reason to do it now. Varg is silent for a few moments as he considers. Interesting. He steps aside and bows. Go ahead, then. You are letting me go? I would like to see his play end as it may, without any strings attached. Chapter 10. The Mermaid's Voice. I stop in my tracks when I see Sir Mefro standing just in front of the main door to the throne room. He looks at me expectantly as I approach. Sir Mefros. Good evening, Your Highness. Such a lovely night tonight, isn't it? Only have an hour left before you will turn 18. Do not forget our deal, Princess. Come midnight, I will be requesting your aid in exchange for helping the prince break his curse. I clench my hands into tight fists. Hoping the prince break his curse? Rot killing someone is not what I wanted. Sir Mefros puts a finger to his lips. You wouldn't want to attract the attention of the knights, would you? It would be quite a bit of explaining to do then. I glare at him, then take a deep breath and lower my voice. You did not tell me that breaking Ra's curse meant killing someone. Oh, but I'm only honoring my end of the deal. Perhaps you should have done your research before agreeing. The grin on his lips never wavers, but I can see the amusement in his eyes. I relied entirely on the story Emmeline told me, and that was my biggest mistake. I should have read the full fairy tale. But now it seems to finally know the full story of the prince's fairy tale, To break his curse, Prince Rod must kill his beloved with the knife his sister has brought him, just like in the fairy tale. Sir Mefros continues to smile at me. I realize that he is speaking slowly, like one might speak to a child. So condescending. No. Wait. I start to realize that Sir Mefros is purposefully drawing out this conversation to stall me. I need to go. Mefros does not stop me when I slide past him to open the doors to a throne room. The first thing I see when I enter the throne room is Rod. He is standing in the middle of the area with Emmeline in his arms. Is she alright? Rod gently places Emmeline on a throne. He leans down to look more closely at her sleeping face, then reaches down to take the object in her hand before he faces me. I can see the metallic glimmer in his hand, and know that he is holding the knife Emmeline brought with her. Where does she even get this knife? He pauses to stare at it, then turns suddenly, eyes widening at some sight in another part of the room. I followed his gaze to a corner of the room, where Viorica floats in midair. Her eyes are closed and her hands clasped, as if she is just sleeping. Viorica? But how? Such a pleasant surprise, isn't it? Sir Mefros walks into the room with his hands clasped behind his back. You! Good evening, Your Highness. Is this your doing? Sir Mefros just smiles at him pleasantly. Rod only glares back at him. Oh boy. Guards! Sir Mefros clicks his tongue and chuckles. My apologies, Your Highness, but no one will be able to hear you no matter how loud you shout. Not even your witch friend will hear anything through my magic. He knows Zulora is here. I glance around the room and notice that Sir Mefros has created his silent green barrier. This is the same magic he used yesterday. Now, let's get back to the matter at hand. You are running out of time, Prince Rod. It will be a shame to see you perish here after the princess went through the trouble of asking me to save your life. Lucette, what is he talking about? The princess didn't want you to die, so she asked me to help break your curse. Sir Mifro spreads his arms, gesturing toward both Emmeline and Viorica. And so I have been kind enough to set the stage and gather its actors for what I hope to be a wonderful finale. I can't help but wonder how this fairy tale will end. Why would you do this, Lucette? I did not know it meant killing Viorica, I swear. That's why I came here, to stop you. I told you so many times that there is nothing you could do to help me, and yet you still refuse to listen to me. Because I refuse to let you die. Can you not see that you're important to me, Rod? Oh my, what a scandal. Lucette. I turned to Sir Mefros and stared daggers at him. I asked you to help Rod. Why did you have to involve Emmeline in this? It was a necessary requirement that the princess be the one to give him the knife, Your Highness. It was, after all, the mermaid's sister that brought her the knife to kill her beloved. So that's how she knew about all of this. She came here crying and begging me to break my curse because she didn't want me to die. I almost wanted to do it. But I could never kill someone. That's why I will always refuse to break my curse, even if I really want to live. Perhaps I miscalculated. Ah well, this can be remedied. Sir Mefros waves his hand. His fingers begin to glow subtly with magic. What are you... Ugh. Rod! A faint green glow surrounds Rod as he doubles over. What are you doing to him? What I should have done to begin with. The witch who cursed him said that he must do this of his own accord, but seeing as he refuses, I'm going to have to bend the rules slightly. Rod stands abruptly and begins walking toward Viorica. The knife in his hand glistens beneath the patches of scattered moonlight in the room. Princess, he's going to kill Viorica! Stop this, Sir Mefros! Where's Delora when we need her? I run toward Rod and wrap my arms around his waist in an attempt to stop him, but whether through magic or his own strength, he continues onward, and end up being dragged behind him. Rod, snap out of it! Rod! I must kill her. His gaze is so glassy and his words so mechanical that he sounds nothing like himself. No! Mefro, stop this! I'm ending our deal! My apologies, Your Highness, but not even I can dispel my magic once it has been casted. It will only fade of its own volition once what needs to be done has transpired. That, or perhaps, in the most unlikely circumstances, the prince will simply shake the spell himself. Though Mefros' words are apologetic, his expression is anything but. In fact, he looks amused by it all. Not so fast! Delora! A crimson ball of light rushes toward Mefros. No, is it Waltz? He waves his hand through the air, and it's barely able to conjure a shield to protect— yeah, Delora, yes, okay. Barely able to conjure a shield to protect himself from Delora's magic. Delora! It wasn't exactly easy to find you all, especially with the silencing spell. Such a nuisance. That's not important. Tell me stop Rod. Frost slowly appears beneath Rod's feet. It spreads up his legs, freezing him in place. I sigh with relief as I collapse onto the floor. My arms are sore with the effort of trying to hold Rod back. Mefros clicks his tongue as he faces Delora. I don't believe you're invited to his play, traitor. Light gathers around Mefros' hand. Moments later, he releases the energy toward her. Delora in turn conjures a barrier, successfully protecting herself from Mefros' magic. I always did fancy myself a party crasher. Still, to think that you were alive this whole time. Myth. Myth? His real name. He is one of the Tenenbaum Bearer's servants. This person was my mother's servant? Allow me to correct you. I am her only faithful servant. I am nothing like that ungrateful bastard who betrayed her to the fairies. Who is he talking about? Well, whatever it is you're planning, forget about it. There's no way we're letting you get away with it. Oh, well, do try your best. But first, a reminder. I am the superior witch here. Energy crackles in the air as sparks begin to form around his hand. His spell is taking longer than his other spells. I noticed Dolores worry moments before she is able to cast a shield on herself. This is not good. Mithros releases the bolts of lightning in Dolores' direction. Ah! The impact causes both the shield and the ground to shudder. Delora! The smoke clears and miraculously Dolores stands unharmed. No sooner had the sigh escaped my lips than another frightening sound echoes across the room. There is a loud crack, and I realize that it's coming from Dolores' shield. Everything after that happens in a blur, Dolores still trying to hold the shield up when Mithros casts another spell at it. It shatters, and the magic seeps through and hits her directly. Delora! Really now, have I forgotten the most important lesson in defense magic? Always conjure another shield after being hit by a powerful spell. Or, oh, I do apologize. Perhaps I did not give you enough time to cast another shield. How thoughtless of me. Delora lays on the floor, unmoving. Delora! I am about to rush to her side when Mithros moves to stand in front of me with a malicious grin on his face. It would do you no good to be in denial, princess. How could you? How could you hurt another witch? It is not a crime to destroy a traitor. He looks back at Delora with clear disdain, and he sets his eyes back on me and raises his eyebrows. It is foolish of you to try to stop this. You wanted this, and I will not allow you to renegade on our deal. The prince will break his curse, and you will help me. Help you? Yes, I went to great pains to make sure Alcaster kept you safe, just so you could repay me. You said that you made a deal with Alcaster to borrow the knight's assistance. And what would I need the knight's assistance for, dear princess? I never needed the knight's. I just needed Alcaster to keep you safe. I would have gotten rid of him myself if I wasn't sure the king would eventually find me. So this whole time you were only trying to keep me safe. To use me? Use is such a simple, ugly word. Remember, I just want you to help me. Princess! I turn around and realize that Dolores' spell on Rod has faded, and that he is now only a few feet away from Eureka. Rod! I force myself to run toward him as fast as I can manage. I will not let you kill anyone. I do not know what I must do to stop him, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I put myself between Rod and Eureka just as he is about to plunge the knife into her. Princess! Rack. Gross. My body is racked with pain the moment the blade sinks into my shoulder. Ugh. I collapse to the floor and hold onto my injured shoulder. I can feel my blood seeping between my fingers. You fool! You could have easily been killed. I do not care. I love Rod, and I would never let him do something that he would regret for the rest of his life. I cringe. Tears cloud my vision as the pain worsens. Lucette! I feel Rod's arms around me as he cradles me to his chest. I look at him to see that his eyes are fixed on my bleeding shoulder. Rod looks at me with anguish. He grabs a handkerchief from his pocket and presses it to my shoulder. I can't believe I did this. I stare in shock as his lips move. It is not Sebby speaking, but him. Your voice. You broke your curse. But how? A bright light envelops us, and for a few moments I have to close my eyes against its brightness. I reach out to grab at my necklace, but it is gone. I open my eyes in panic, but the necklace is definitely not there. Lucette, the glass slippers. I glance down to see a pair of smooth glass slippers on my feet. Yay! You broke your curse by breaking mine. I hear the sound of shattering glass and turn to see Mithros staring at a broken view. What is that? Frost has begun to form at his feet and is now spreading up his legs. What is happening? Always have a backup, as they say. Seems like you're the one who forgot the basics of combat. Never turn your back on an opponent unless you're sure that they're dead. Her bloated ego does wonders in turning the tide of battle. Delora is now back on her feet and walking toward Mithros. She dusts off her dress as she moves. Delora is unharmed? You, but how? Did you really think I'd forget to conjure another shield? The frost has now made its way up to Mithros' neck. Inconceivable! A lowly witch like you can never cast as powerful a spell! Delora gestures at the glass shards on the floor. That's where Parfait's new special potion comes handy. It makes my magic more powerful. The second most basic lesson is to never underestimate your opponent. Looks like you were the terrible pupil. Mefros opened his mouth to speak, or have to scream, but by the time he opened his mouth, the frost has completely devoured him, leaving him nothing but an icy sculpture. Deloro, Lou said as... Has her bleeding stopped? I think so. I cannot make out what they say after that. My world starts spinning and everything starts to blur, so I close my eyes. I feel Dolores' hand on my forehead. The warmth relaxes me, somewhat. We got you, Princess. Hang in there, Lucette. My body becomes heavier by a second as I lean my head against Rod's chest. And then I feel myself falling into never-ending darkness. When I open my eyes, the first thing I see are the soft rays of sunlight seeping through the window. I am in my own room. I attempt to sit up and cringe when I feel a sharp pain in my shoulder. I reach out to touch it, only to realize that it has been neatly bandaged. Despite the injury, my body feels oddly light, stronger than it even was before. I remember I placed myself in front of Eureka to stop Rod from hurting her. But where did this energy come from? The door opens and Emmeline walks in with a tray of food in her hands. She stops when she realizes that I'm staring at her, and nearly drops the tray in her rush to stand beside me. Lucette, you're finally awake! I was so worried about you. I'm so sorry. This was all my fault. What are you talking about? It was mine, not yours. I remember bringing the knife to Rod, but I can't remember much of what happened before or after that. Just that when I woke up in the throne room, I saw that you were bleeding in Rod's arms. I thought you were going to... The rest of Emmeline's words break to pieces as she begins to cry. I'm so sorry for forgetting about you. I made you work too hard while you were my personal maid, and I shake my head with a sigh. It was not your fault I was cursed, Emmeline. But I look at her tear-stained face. She was not at fault, yet here she is crying. She really is a good person. I spread my arms. Lucette? I turn away, suddenly embarrassed. You look like you needed a hug. Emmeline stares at me for a few moments. I'm about to reconsider when I suddenly feel her arms around me. I'm so happy. I hug her back and stroke her hair. I cannot help but smile at the warmth that spreads in my chest. Thank you. Emmeline pulls back, her face full of concern. What will happen to you and Rod now? I saw how close the two of you got, and I saw how Rod looked at you last night. Wait, last night? So today is my birthday and the day I become the bearer. Is that the reason I feel so strangely energized? Oh! Emmeline walks up to one of my doll shelves and picks up the doll she had placed there months ago. Happy birthday! I meant to give this to you earlier as a surprise before you were... cursed. Anyway, I know it's not as pretty as the other dolls from your collection, but I hope that you like it. It's beautiful. Thank you. I take the doll in my arms as a knock sounds on the door. Come in. The door opens and Ross steps inside. His eyes widen when he sees Emmeline. Oh, I was just about to leave. Emmeline slides off of my bed and heads for the door, but before she closes it, she turns to us once again. I know how complicated this will be for the both of you, but I want you to know that I will support you. Then my lips are sealed. Emmeline winks before finally closing the door behind her. There is an awkward silence in the room before Rod approaches me and sits on the edge of the bed. How are you feeling? It still hurts, but I will be fine. What's wrong? I'm just not used to hearing your voice from your own lips. Oh, but I see you still have Sebby with you. I've grown too fond of him to completely set him aside. He's helped me through a lot. Bummer I can't read his thoughts anymore. Oh, he's so cute! There was never any need for you to do that in the first place. It's not so. Rod shakes his head and sighs silently. So what happened last night? How is that you were able to break your curse? You did not kill Eureka. In the original fairy tale, the Little Mermaid could retain her humanity only if the prince loved her back. Though it never happens in the fairy tale, it's still an element of her curse. But still, because the prince never fell in love with her, the only way for the mermaid to live was to kill him. I fell in love with you unknowingly, You told me you loved me as well last night. That broke my curse. I feel my cheeks turn warm. Rod coughed. His own cheeks flushed. So there you have it. The Little Mermaid never had a fairy tale ending, but I did. Ah, I never had to kill Eureka. But because my curse started with Eureka, I assumed it had to end with her too. It turns out that the person I loved just needed to love me back. I was mistaken. It never needed to be Eureka. I see. We stare at each other for a few moments, the awkward silence returning. I change the subject as quickly as I can. What became of Sir Mefros? Delora brought him back to Lady Parfait. She is the one who will properly punish him. And what of Eureka? Delora returned her to her home yesterday. She does not remember anything that happened. Everything is back to how it was then? You're back to being my stepbrother? I cannot help but feel crestfallen at this truth. Blood binds, but so do sibling bonds. Rod and I can never have what either of us want. I don't want to forget these feelings I have for you, Lizette. If I had never made that deal with the witch, then maybe we might have actually been able to be together. But you guys would never have met. I guess. But yeah, see? But had you not been cursed, our paths never would have crossed. I reach for Rod's hand. He laces his fingers through mine with a small smile. I love you, Rod. I love you too. But... Rod leans forward and kisses my cheek. I know. Oh, that's so sad! 1 month later. Even though I know what happens in Evermore, but still, that's so sad! Ever since I broke my curse and became a noon Cinderella bearer, I have been training under Parfait and Delora so I can learn to control my newfound powers. I never wanted this responsibility, but it is a burden I was born into. Literally. It is necessary I help maintain the balance between light and dark that has been missing for so long. Now that I am the noon Cinderella bearer, Parfait wants the two of us to work together and maintain that peace. I do not wish to cause any pain or suffering to the people, especially to the people whom I cherish. Sometimes I still wonder what Sir Mefros wanted me to do for him, but that is not important anymore. I still have much to learn, but right now, as a noon bearer, my priority is to get rid of the fairy tale curse once and for all. For the time being, everyone at the Martian waits patiently for the day that I will learn to lift their curses. Since everything transpired, my relationship with Ophelia and Emmeline has improved. Emmeline is fond of calling me the best sister, even though I'm the only one she has. My relationship with the king, however, has yet to be mended. I am doing my best to open up to him and to give him a chance, but the efforts are slow going. Realistic. I do not ask why I acted the way that I did in the past, but I know that in order to move forward, I must let go of the past. Look how mature she's gotten. It's flying time. I've been waiting for this all day. I head back into my room to change my dress into something less conspicuous. Afterwards, I head out into town and into the forest for our designated meeting. It is a relief the king allows me to leave the palace on my own. I would not have been able to come here with guards. I guess me being the Cinderella bearer puts him at ease. If the title reassures him and allows me to come out here on my own to meet Rod, then... I'm not complaining. Rod still uses a secret passage he has always used to sneak out of the palace. Emily knows about our secret meetings and helps cover for our disappearances if necessary. Aww. It makes me happy that Emily improves our relationship, that we do not have to keep a secret from absolutely everyone. At first, Rod and I both attempted to keep our distance without making it seem too obvious to everyone around us. I think that's another thing I like about Rod's route, that her relationship with Emmeline is portrayed as like, as the kind of the best here, I guess. Though Phyllis seems to suspect something is going on between the two of us, she has not asked questions. Emmeline was not happy with our decision. She said she felt terrible that we would be forced to let go of something so precious on account of our titles. She was right. More than that, it was difficult for the two of us to deny our feelings for each other. In the end, we came up with a solution. Even if it is temporary, we decided to secretly meet up in the forest every once in a while so that we could be together without any pretenses. Even just for a little while. When I catch sight of Rod, I run toward him and throw my arms around his neck. I feel Rod snuggle his face into the crook of my neck. May I have this dance? Aww, look at that! I take Rod's hand and begin dancing to a silent song. The first time I danced with him, it was to prove a point. It was when neither of us even liked each other. I remember this as I stare at him. What? Is there something on my face? I was just remembering how much you hated me back then, and now here we are. Fate sure loves to toy with us. I smile at Rod. Just for a little longer, I want to be by his side. I do not know how long I can keep this up, but every day I wish for the same thing. I wish I can live my life openly loving Rod. Aww, that's sad. I wonder, would that dream ever be possible? That is sad. Yeah, healthy sibling relationship. But that is sad. Alright, one round down. One round down and what, 4 more to go? Yes, I believe so. Oh, look at Sebby. That's actually a really cool ending credit considering it's customized for every route. Oh, Sebby! And look at I like how Sebby kind of looks disapproving here. No, I like Rod's story too. I thought that was like the majority, majority opinion for people who played this. Like Rod's route seems pretty popular. And Rod's character seems popular too, I think. Wow, that was so good. I think I played his route like 3 times or or something. I think this is the 3rd time actually, but yeah, I know I played his route like several times because I liked it so much. And he's not even my favorite route, it's funny. Alright, yes, we finished Rod's route. So on that note, we have come to the end of the stream today, and tomorrow I will be playing Therapy with Dr. Albert Kruger at 6 p.m, which is a different game. I think it's supposed to be kind of horror-y, but not super in-your-face kind of horror. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from it yet, but yeah, and we will return to Cinderella Phenomenon some other day, probably Wednesday. But yes, tomorrow is going to be a break day from Otome Games. Yes. So, thank you for breaking into this stream, and I hope to see you again next time. For now, goodbye, and until our next day break.